Well, we wanted to move away from taking an approach that tends to rely on looking at traits of individuals in leadership roles, and instead we were focusing very much on behaviours, very much looking at what people did in order to get the job done. We identified 3 core skills underpinning their effective performance in this role. The first of these we talk about is network communication skills. So I said of how they communicate with other people, but very much in a networked way, working across boundaries, which can be geographical, hierarchical, and areas of expertise. A second one is a set of relational skills, and here is very much about the social relationships and how work gets done. So how arguments might be framed in terms of the key benefits of changes and norms, sense making in terms of what those changes might mean to individuals and their jobs, and involvement of different stakeholders in how those changes might need to be understood and played out in practice. And then the last of those key skills was the issues around how the norms themselves come into practice. So creating the norms, diffusing those norms, implementing and monitoring. And what we found was the global actors were using a combination of all 4 of those at the same time, but maybe to varying degrees. We were very interested in making sure that we could understand whether the globalizing skills that we looked at actually had any impact, and whether that was a positive or negative impact equally in the organisations. And what we found is there was 2 really significant impacts that those skills had. The first of those was on colleagues in terms of understanding the new norms, and therefore there was a very powerful translational component and effect, and that it was a positive effect on employee understanding. The second impact was on areas of employee engagement, and again there was a very positive impact on employee engagement, and here we were measuring this in terms of job satisfaction, commitment to the goals, and individual well-being. And because of the very strong body robust evidence that we know around the relationship between engagement and productivity, we see this as a critical finding. So looking very much across what organisations might need to look to for the future and the future skills, our research does provide a number of insights. We find 4 key capabilities in particular. The first of these would be collaborative working. It's the ease with which individuals are able to work with others across a range of different boundaries. Those boundaries might be geographical, could be hierarchical, or could be areas of expertise. A second one is multi-level framing. We saw again that these global actors were able to draw down on key points of reference in order to translate what needed to be done and to shift norms into new ways of thinking. These kind of points of frames of reference would be things such as perhaps the economic frame of reference, but also environmental or moral frames of reference. A third one is narrative building, and here it was very much how the global actors were able to provide a story that created some kind of sense and order to something that could be quite a chaotic or ambiguous process. And the third one is learning capability itself. So learning and reflection we know is critical to effective performance. But here what we found that was slightly different was the very strong use of data by globalizing actors, drawing upon evidence that is available to consider what's working, why it's working and how it's working, and using that data to then inform and to change things accordingly. So in combination, I think those 4 areas are critical skills that organisations will look to try and develop in their people in the future.